Okay, can you guys see the slide? Thumbs up. Perfect. Okay. I was telling Crystal, this is always challenging for me to move everyone on the screen to where I can see my notes and the slides. So bear with me getting situated. All right. Well, welcome to the last May mentorship call. I'm Jody McComas. For those of you who don't know me, I know that there are newer faces around here. I'm an Emerald Ambassador, and I have been with Plexus for 8.5 years. Allie and I joined about the same time, about a week apart, I believe, and not long after Cassie. So we have all been here a while, and it has been fantastic. We are lifers for sure. And I have loved this time with you guys. And I just want to say, great job showing up and doing this and inviting your people to do this. It's been a packed 4 weeks. We've had incredible training on why we do this, how to begin doing this, the earning potential, how we reach out, how to invite to an event, posting an event on Instagram. There have been amazing tips. Hold on. Okay. If you're not muted, there we go. Okay. I think we got everyone. But all of the tips have been so good. And if you have missed any of those, I encourage you to go back and listen to the trainings. And even if you didn't miss them, go back and listen to the trainings and the tips because they're so good. And what we are doing here in this 4 weeks, you guys, it is absolutely foundational to what we do. Like, this is what we do day in and day out. Even 8.5 years in, this is what we do day in and day out. And of course, we're always getting better. We're learning new things. You know, social media changes, it can be frustrating and we're learning along the way, right? But the foundational things are always the foundational things, and we always come back to those. And that's what you've been learning and doing on repeat as we have gone through this. And so tonight we're going to talk a little bit more about closing. I know Allie gave some verbiage last week about following up and having those conversations. But I'm going to talk a little bit more about closing because at the end of the month, we're always, trying to close those conversations to get people to take that final step to purchase, which you guys honestly is just the first step, right? Because we are not successful until we help people be successful on their products and then in this business as well. And as we train people. So the sale is never the final thing that we do. That's like the beginning of the relationship. And we're also going to talk about duplication tonight. And we begin that process the moment we start having a conversation with someone. And when we post, when people see what we do, they're going to duplicate what we do. And so always keeping that in mind that we're training other people to do this from the very beginning. And sometimes I do this really well and sometimes I don't, right? Sometimes we have weeks where we are just off and months where we're off. But we just have to remind ourselves to come back to the things that we do and continue to get better in those things. And so that's what we're going to look at. I'm going to look at some closing conversations, and then we'll talk about community and have Crystal share with us a little bit, but community is so much a part of duplication and a part of this process. It's one of the best parts. And so I'm excited for her to share. And then just a little bit of vision for growth for you as you continue this journey. So that's kind of where we're headed tonight. But also keeping in mind as we're following up or we're going to send another message, and you might think, well, I already sent them one or I sent them two. But just remember, people are really busy. And if their household looks anything like mine right now, it is wild with graduation this week and family coming in and hosting, right? And that's just my life. And so you have to look at it like a mail pile. Like I come in, I toss the mail on the desk. And so whenever we send another message, it's just like moving that piece of mail right up to the top because we may not be at the forefront of their mind, like they are the forefront of ours. And so just remember, we're going to, send a message. That's our job. That's what we do. That's part of being professional. And so just reminding yourself, this is part of my job, right? I'm not bothering someone. Even the mindset of going into those conversations or sending another message. So I'm just going to read some closing examples that we can send to people. And I will put these in the page as well after tonight so that you can have these and save them to your phone if you want to. And we want to make sure just to end with a question and end with one question. Try to leave it at just one so that they know, oh, I need to answer this. You want to elicit a response from them. So these things could be, here's some examples. Did I get you all the information you need to make a decision? And then just let them answer. That's the hardest part, right? Is just to then let them answer. Hey, Sally, I'm checking back with everyone I talked with this month to make sure no one misses out on the $10 off. What's holding you back from getting started today? Hey, Sally, I know you said that you would love to not crash at 3 every day, stop craving sweets after dinner, and sleep through the night. I know if we start today, you will be on your way to reaching those goals. Are you ready to get started? I'm so excited for you to get started. Would today or tomorrow be a good time to get on the phone to get that order in? I feel like you have what you need. I think you really want to do this, but you seem nervous. Are you scared or skeptical? And so what I love about that question too is just to name it. Like, you seem nervous. Because sometimes they're not going to tell you, hey, I'm fearful to do this, right? You have to be the one to say, hey, I'm sensing this. It's okay to do that and ask them if that's true. Or the message that talks about their goals, like repeat their goals to them so that they are reminded, oh yeah, I did tell you that was my goal, and that they know you're listening, and so that you want to help them get started and to reach those goals, and can't do it until they say yes, right? Uh, and then what do I say if they don't respond or say no? And Allie gave this top one last week, which I think is a fantastic message. And you can just say, hey, it seems like now isn't a great time. Would you like me to take you off my list for now? And usually people respond to that. And if they say no, or not now, like now isn't a good time, say, I totally understand. Would it be okay if I checked back with you in 3 to 6 months to see if anything has changed for you? And most people, when I ask this, say yes. And then make sure that you write their name in your planner so that you actually follow up with them. Because when you do, they'll be like, oh yeah, she was very serious. She follows through with what she said she was going to do. And so asking all of these questions is going to give you the opportunity to see what is their objection, and then to help them walk through that, and using that feel, felt, found method that I believe Cassie talked about in week 1 or 2. And so if you need some more training on that, please feel free to ask, because it's very effective. So those are some of the closing questions that we can ask people. And then Allie shared this last week too, but reminding us how many times it takes to follow up. And I actually think it's way more than we think it is. It's at least 10 now, because people are bombarded with things all the time. And so I want us to remember like your journey. Okay, how many of you ordered the first time your friend reached out to you or you saw a post? I don't know anyone who's ever done that in the first conversation or the first time they saw a post from their friend. And so think, okay, well, how long did it take me? And I know, like, I have someone on here who watched my journey for 8.5 years and she didn't join until 8.5 years later, right? And so we just have to remember not to give up on people. Patience, persistence, being consistent, and understanding is key, right? So not to take it personally when they're not ready, because it's just not their time yet. Okay, so we are going to talk about duplication. Most of our time is going to be spent on this, and that can feel really scary to think about. Duplication, duplicating yourself, growing a team, right? When people say, think of yourself as a CEO of your business, I'm always like, ooh, that is so scary to me. I never wanted to be a CEO. I still don't want to be a CEO. So I actually have to break it down. And think about it in ways that my brain can and my heart can actually connect with it, right? And so I love to help people. I have to go back to the things that Stephanie shared even in week 2, when she talked about, going through your mindset and how we work through that, our thoughts and our beliefs, because it really influences our actions. And so when I think about duplication, like what are the things that come up for me? And even 8.5 years in, things come up for me, right? So especially if you're beginning, things are going to come up for you. And there are going to be fears that come up for you in that. But we can always acknowledge those fears, right? It's like driving the car. We don't let those fears drive the car, but we can acknowledge them and we can set them in the back seat and we can drive with them. And we just take them with us. And that's how we move into courageous action. And I loved, we just went to a Rise Up Summit and someone said that success favors the bold. And he said, you can do anything 10 seconds at a time, right? So be bold 10 seconds at a time. And I think I can do that. And so if you have fears that come up when you think about duplication, you're not alone. So I just want to acknowledge that. But that's what your sponsor is here for. That's what the team is here for. And you can learn anything to be successful. And if you remember when we first started, we shared this graphic, and duplication. We're going to keep this simple, you guys. But we shared this graphic about, we have this journey. You get to decide what is your goal. And of course, as leaders, we would really love everyone to at least get to gold. And why? We want you to be on that gold retreat with us. But also, that means that your products are absolutely going to be paid for. And you are going to be making a lot of extra income on the side, right? So that can go to something that you really care about, something that you need, that your family needs. And so we want that for you. Plus, that means that there is at least 16 other people that are finding good health along the way. And so this is helping you and it's helping people. And so this is our goal. We would love for everyone to get to gold, right? And you guys, I really believe if you can get to gold, you can get to diamond. And I've had to keep telling myself that because I'm not to diamond yet. But I have gotten to where I am and I know that I have the skills that can get me there, right? And so we have to remember too how simple getting to gold can be. And of course, we can do this all alone. Like I got to gold pretty much by my own. On my own, I had added 20 people by myself. It wasn't until I got to gold that I then had a couple people that were like, oh, I want to do this with you. I want to begin to share with you, right? So we can do it that way. It's a little bit harder and it's kind of lonely, right? But it happens. And so this is how simple it can be. And so I want to remind us, it is us getting 4 people who then get 4 people. And that is how we get to gold. And so I just want to remind us, like, it really can be this simple. And there are simple things that we do along the way. And we have been talking about these the whole time. We've already been practicing these. And so I just want to remind us what is in duplication. And that is send, share, invite equals duplication, you guys. And of course, there are a lot of things in this, but remember, when your brain starts to feel very overwhelmed, come back to these 3 things. We are going to send people a message. We're going to make a comment on something. We are going to engage with people. We're going to ask them if they're familiar with Plexus. We might ask them if they need help with mood, energy, digestion, weight, or looking to make extra income, right? So we're going to send a message. We're going to share something that will build belief in the business, the products, in them. Like, I think so much of what we do is building belief in people that they can do this, that life could look differently, right? And so we do that by a testimony. Some of the videos that we have, we can tag them on one of our team pages that has a testimony. We can send an article about gut health. There's so many ways that we can do this when we share, and then we invite. We invite them to an event or to try a product, a sample, or to get started. I sometimes share samples, but often I just tell people, look, there's a 60-day money back guarantee and just try it, right? You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And so these are the things that go into duplication, whether that is in sharing the products or sharing the business. And so we're going to look at really some more business messages that you can send to people as we are sharing, because we need to remember that we have to expose people to the business too. And I know that that can be so much scarier, right? Especially as you're starting out, because you might think, well, I don't know, or I don't have the success, or I don't know what this looks like, or, like we just have all of these or, all these doubts that come up. Um, and so it just is a little more challenging because it does involve more with our mindset, our time, our commitment. But I just want to remind us that often people are going to bed more worried about their money than their health. Like money is such an issue, you guys. It is such a stressor because we have to have it to live. That is just a fact of life. And life is expensive, right? And so people have that. And we have to remember that we have something that helps both health and finances, which are two of the top three worries that most people have. Okay. And so we have a gift and we want to expose people. And in the beginning, I didn't know what to do either, but I just said, hey, come do this with me. Right. Sometimes that's all we have to say. We'll do it together. And that's all it takes, right? It can be that simple. But I'm going to give us some verbiage that we can use, that we can think about. And this is an example for new customers. Okay. So, I'm sure you've heard some of these, but I'm just going to throw these out there. Okay, I'm in the business of helping people. Do you know 5 people that could use more energy, better sleep, or want to feel better? Who could we invite to do this with you? And I always encourage people, don't do this alone. It is so much more fun with accountability, both for the products and in the business, right? I want to invite people who I want to travel with because I earn trips and I want to take people with me. Um, Another question, are you the type of person who shares about something that they love? Would you be willing to share if you loved it? It's a very simple question that will open the door and plant the seed that they can do this too. One of the things we're passionate about is helping you get your products paid for so that your finances never get in the way of your health goals. Would you be open to me teaching you how to do that? Um, Phil Jones has a bunch of questions, but he said very few people want to be known as someone who's closed-minded. And so when you use the question, are you open or are you open-minded about, then they think, well, yeah, I'm open-minded. So this can be a great question. And then just asking, have you ever thought about sharing Plexus or making income from home? Very simple. Okay, here are a couple more. Sorry, I have to move my screen. And this is more examples for customers. Have you ever considered that it could be different or that you could do this? And in the conversation, if they've shared something with you, obviously there's some need that they have. Just saying, have you envisioned that this could be different? What would motivate you to do something like this? We are all motivated by very different things. And so knowing what that is can really help you when you're working with people. What would an extra $300 do for your family? What would it actually do? Like, actually, what would that provide for? Have them list it out. What about $1,000? What would that provide? What are some of your constant prayers or hopes for your family? Before Plexus, you guys, I prayed constantly that I would feel well, that I would have a provision to actually feel good every day. And finances to pay for all our medical bills. So when Plexus came along and answered those prayers, right? And so, but asking that question, you might really kind of unearth something that is also a motivator for someone. And that's one of the things that I love so much about Plexus is this doesn't have to be our everything, right? I just feel like this is a tool, it is a vehicle to fuel us and to provide for the passions and the things that we value in life. Is just a vehicle to get us to those things. It doesn't have to be our everything. And then I love this. When someone said it last week that I was listening to a training, if you're afraid, just tell people, hey, this makes me nervous to mention because I'm just starting out, but I don't want you to miss out on the opportunity to earn cash if you want to. If you could earn cash by sharing your referral link, would you want to do it? Simple as that. Okay, let me grab my notes back. So those are just very simple questions, right? As we're starting people out. And helping people, when we ask those, objections will rise to the surface, and then we can help walk them through that. We are being guides, right? We are just guiding people along. And then, okay, I'm going to give us examples for business specific reach outs. And I know these are scarier. You guys are scarier for me still. But here are a couple, because these are very, like, it's just going to hit a need no matter who you share, no matter who you send this invitation to. So many I know are looking for ways to create more margins in their lives. I know we are. You're someone I think would be great at what I do, so I wanted to see if you would be open to having a conversation. It may or may not be for you, but I know it's been a huge blessing in both health and finances for our family, so I wanted to see if you could benefit from it too. What are your thoughts? Are you open to a conversation? And then this one's kind of similar. Hi, I hope you're doing well. I'm reaching out because I'm looking for people who have a heart for leadership, a desire to help others have better health, and want to add another stream of income from home. I know that you have many of the qualities of someone that I admire and would love to work with. Do any of those things resonate with you? Would you be open to a conversation about doing what I do? One of the things that Genevieve, who is in the corporate office, and when she does training, she always says, do you like your ask? And so when you are sending an ask to someone, you just have to ask yourself, would I want to receive this? Like, how would I respond to this message? Okay. And if you would like it, then send it. You can feel good about sending that. Okay. And this is the last message I'm going to share. And this is for someone who you have reached out to previously. Because you guys, I don't send just one message, especially if there's someone that I think would be so good at this business and they say no. I reach out again in 6 months to see if anything has changed, because sometimes it does. And so you can, just say, hey, I know we've talked about Plexus before and it wasn't on your radar, but I'm curious if anything in your life has changed that might cause you to reevaluate. I know so many are looking for extra streams of income because the cost of everything has increased so much. I'm looking for people who want to provide more for their families, but also have a heart for leadership and a desire to help people better their health. It made me think of you. What are your thoughts about that? Are you open to having a conversation now? So it's okay to reach back out to people. Okay, let's see where I am. Also, I can't see the chats, so if there's something, I'll pause in a minute and look at those. Okay, I do want to say, like, we can give you all the verbiage in the world, right? I can tell you that you can do this, and Cassie can tell you that you can do this. But honestly, your belief in yourself is the number one indicator that you will be able to do this. There's the quote that he says, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right, right? If your belief is absolutely going to influence if you do this business, how you do this business, how you show up, the message that you send. And so if you don't have that belief, really be going back to that mindset work and borrow the belief of the leaders around you, because that's what we all had to do when we started out, right? And like I said before, even us leaders, we have our own doubts. And so we're constantly having to go back and have conversations. We have to go back to our mindset and we have to look at, why am I doing this? Do I really believe that I can do it? And am I committed? And it's making that decision to do it and to go for it and keep your word to yourself. Not even just to your leader, right? Like we're here to help guide and lead, but you're accountable to you and you alone. And so knowing that from the very beginning and taking the initiative to do that is going to help you be successful in this business, no matter what rank you want to be, right? And no matter what you want to be successful in, that's going to be true. And also, I just want to say, don't limit others because of your preconceived ideas of what they can or may want to do. We can work through people's objections, but don't have a limiting belief for somebody else. Don't rule anyone else out. And then I know Cassie had shared this. This is something that stuck with me years ago when it was shared, but it was the some will, some won't, so what, someone's waiting. And it is that so what part, you guys. So what am I going to make it mean if someone says no, or if someone doesn't get back to me? Whatever it is, how am I going to respond to that? Am I going to let it stop me? Am I going to still go on sharing? And, like that so what is so important. And to remember that there is always someone out there who needs what we have to offer, and to keep sharing. So, so crucial. Okay, so some duplication tips, just to kind of sum up some of these duplication things. Again, sharing with confidence and infusing belief in them. So many people need someone to come along and say, you can do this. And we get to be those people for them. It is such a privilege that we get to do that. And so share that with confidence, right? Infuse belief. And so often we need to do this by getting on the phone with people, in face to face, coffee dates, lunch date, whatever it is. Like those personal conversations make all the difference. And then ask. You need to find an ask that you like and use it. Making it about them and their goals. So often we let our fears get in the way, and then we stop our action. But if we remember, hey, this is for them, like this is to help them, this is about their goals. When we get out of the way, we're able to be that guide for people. Help your customers do their first post and reply to the comments. And then this one, if you haven't done this yet, you guys host your own event and help your people host their own event, because there is so much more buy-in when you have skin in the game, right? When it's not just a whole team-wide event, although I love that we do those, having your own events is so, so helpful. And then plugging into the community, we have an amazing community here. It's not perfect. It can be messy, right? Because we're people. Wherever there's people, it's messy, but it's so worth it. And this community has been one of the biggest blessings. And it's one of the reasons that when it gets hard, when life gets hard, when the business side gets hard, there is a community of people here that will support you and cheer you on. And it is one of the biggest reasons that people stay. And then show them the way. You only have to be a couple steps ahead of people. You guys, we do not have to know everything. And still 8.5 years in, I don't know everything. And I rely on my leaders, and we learn as we go. And so remembering these things, keep it simple, come back to these things, come back to sharing, inviting, and really like that's where it's at. So now I want to introduce Crystal Wyatt. She is a Ruby on my team, and I wouldn't know her if it weren't for Plexus, you guys. And so I'm just very thankful for that fact. And I am hoping that her and Matthew will be moving back this direction at some point in their future, so I can see her more often. But I'm just going to let Crystal share a little bit about community and what that has meant to her, and how that's played a part in duplication for her.
Thank you. I made notes because if I don't, I have a lot of squirrel moments. So you're going to see me looking away, but it's just at that. So um, I am Crystal. I've been with Plexus for 6 years this month. And that just really blows me away because it does not seem like 6 years. And I'll be completely honest, when Jody asked me to share live tonight, I wanted to throw up a little bit. Um, and my nerves immediately shot up. But when I looked more like at what I was talking about tonight, and I was like, I am not the same person that I was 6 years ago, because a huge, like, one of the biggest parts is this community and the leadership. And like Jody said, borrowing belief, because that is what this community does for us. It builds us up. They kind of push us out of the nest at some points, and that's what we need. And we don't grow in our comfort zones. We grow outside of our comfort zones. So I think we all know what we have here is rare, and the amount of support that is just um, given so freely is really amazing. Our products are top notch. The customer service is incredible, but the community that we have here is the most special. Um, We come from all over the country. We have, sometimes we've only met on social media, Facebook, Zoom calls, but it's like we already know each other and it's like we're already part of the family. And um, that is what takes in-person events to a whole new level. And with community or with convention coming up next month, like just a few short weeks away, that just makes it so much more exciting, and it helps to develop those relationships even more in person. And so when you leave those in-person events and you go back and you're back on Zoom and you're back on Facebook and stuff, it just solidifies that relationship even more. Um, we're not called to live alone. We all know that, and we're built for community. Um, and when we have someone join us, not everyone is going to want to share the products or want to share the results right away. But I feel like once they experience this team culture, it changes. And it's just another amazing perk that we have when here at Plexus. And one thing that is makes my heart so happy is that I am so confident that when I'm bringing someone into into the community, either for the products or the business, they're going to be embraced by love by all of you, and that is so important to me because we are building trust with these people. We're building relationships with these people, and when we bring them in, we have that complete trust in this community that I think a lot of people honestly stay for the community. Even if they're not, they're happy customers and maybe they don't want to do the business side, but I think that the community plays a huge role in that. Um, and I was on a coaching call earlier today, and she talked about how important it is, how important positive, inclusive work culture is. And that's what high quality leaders are attracted to. So that's really a key to create that for your people. And we do have that here at Plexus. We have that with our leaders. Um, and we have a come sit with us attitude. We don't have and Jody said it can get messy. We're people, but for the most part, it's everyone's welcome. I shouldn't say for the most part, everyone's welcome. Everyone is welcome, but you know what I mean. But that trickles down from the top. And we have incredible examples of leadership that lead the way for us. And they set the tone. And I just love how the integrity of that community starts there, and it fills our whole team. Um, excuse me. Our team leaders have created such great resources that we need to take advantage of. And I know it can get a little overwhelming sometimes, so I just wanted to narrow down a couple of the ways that we can plug our people into community. And the first one is the new customer chat. And that's a great place to plug in your new people. That is a great place for information when they're first starting out. It's also a great accountability resource. It's really fun to see other people succeed and cheer others on. It's also a great place for accountability. Um, and the one thing that I was thinking of today is, I don't know about you guys, but I sometimes want to ask a question, but for the fear of embarrassment or sounding um, dumb, I won't ask the question. And so in that chat, people are, there's so much great information in there. People are posting questions, people are saying what's working for them and tweaking regimens and stuff like that. And so it's a great way to get those questions answered if you don't really want to put yourself out there. And they can see, and I tell my people, because not everybody is the same social media wise as far as being involved, they can get overwhelmed sometimes. So I always ask permission before I add them to the chat or these other things that we're going to talk about. And that's just something that I do. Some people just don't even ask them and add them, and that's totally fine. I mean, it works for them. But um, if they, I always say, I'm going to be checking in with them because that's part of the 90-day customer care. But also, is this chat helpful? What are you getting out of it? Like trying to get some feedback. But everything that I've gotten so far is great. Um, and also um, adding them, where did my other thing go? Oh, there it is. Okay. Adding them to your team Facebook page. And so, for example, we have a great resource for customers, people that don't necessarily want to do the business, but they're going to be exposed to that. And so it's really neat for them to see the shout outs for people adding customers and VIPs. And it's also a place where they can see the income opportunity because we never want to rule anyone out. And that's part of a conversation that you have with your customer. Are you looking to get your products paid for type thing? But um, even just having them exposed to that, sometimes they're like, oh, they're adding people and they're getting paid for it. I think I could do that. And so that's a great way to introduce them to that. Another thing is to invite them to team calls. I absolutely love the structure that Jody has come up with for our monthly team calls because it suits everyone. And you have the option, if you're a new customer, when you come, there's the first 15 minutes is dedicated to that. And so after 15 minutes, you can opt out, you can stop, or she has a point where she says, okay, this is for new customers. If you want to continue on, this is what we're going to talk about. Some people leave the Zoom right there, and that's totally fine. Some people stick around and learn more. Um, but getting them to a team call, excuse me, just so they can see. I mean, you never know. You don't want to count anyone out. I added something, Jody, that I don't have on that list, but I started just a personal, like, people that are my downline. I have started a Monday prayer call in the mornings and then Monday night huddle because I really wanted to create a smaller connection with just my team and a lot of people that are local here in Texas. Um, and it's really cool to build those relationships on a smaller level too. And so that's always an option. You can start your own thing. Like if you have an idea, run with it. Like just create that community. It's just another sense. And then book club is a great way to get people into the community. Um, it's it's always like it's a self-help or, something like that based, but it's good for any area of your life, plexus or not, or plexus business or your own business or even corporate. Like it's just something to help you in everyday life. And so those are the ways to get plugged into, have your teams getting plugged into the community, and a way to expose them to that. And then I was scrolling Instagram and I saw this quote, and it says, the greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members. And this particular team is so compassionate and just so special to me that I was like, that quote, I was like, I have to share that. So it really resonated with what I was talking about today. And I just thought that was cool, kind of, how I saw it just a couple days ago. So wanted to share that.
Thank you so much. So many good tips. And I agree. Like our team is so fantastic and this community is amazing. So bring people in, you guys, and especially after the last few years, people are really looking for community that is supportive, and safe spaces. And so we want to be that place, for people. So utilize it. Okay, I would love to hear, and you can unmute and share something, but there are a few other things I'm going to share tonight, but I don't want to end this month without you guys sharing your wins. And I know some of you, like you've been here for years, and some of you are brand new. And maybe you didn't hit the goal that you had, right? But maybe you stepped out of your comfort zone and you invited people to events. You sent a message that was really scary. Like we have to celebrate our wins all the time. Okay. And so I want you to shout yourself out or someone that you worked with too. Feel free to share that in the comments, but I would just love to hear some wins that you have had. And I'll wait.
I just have to
Yeah, go ahead.
I just have to share that I watched last week's May mentorship, and I was burdening my potentials with like 3 and 4 questions. And
Mm,
when she said only do one question, I went back and looked at all of my messages I've been sending, and I was just overwhelming people. So
mm.
I'm trying really hard to just one question, and so thank you.
That's awesome. Yes, always learning and growing and seeing where can we tweak something. That's such a win. Love that. Stephanie shared, I started a business conversation with someone on IG and she's open to at least learning more about the products or talking about the business in the future. That's such a win. I love that. Stephanie's been posting more about Plexus and personal posts on Facebook. She's not gotten to her goal. However, she's working on connections. Yes. And I can say that that is true. So good job. Because I know it's really scary as you're starting out. And if you're not someone who's shared a ton, for a while, it can feel really scary to put yourself out there like that. Ruby's been talking to more people about the business without feeling pushy or annoying. I love that. You must like your ask. That's good. You know what you have to offer, and it is a blessing. So good, you guys. Okay, maybe one more. Anyone? I know Crystal and Spring, I don't think Spring is on here, but you guys hosted an in-person event, which is a scary thing to do. And it takes work and effort. And I love that you guys did that. And I wish I would have been there. It looked really fun. Terry, I'm so happy I had some content written ahead of time because I have been so sick. I could not have written anything. Yes, that is one of the reasons I keep a running note. And when I feel inspired, I go in there and I jot down something that I want to post about later. And if I have a month where I'm not feeling well, go back to your memories, you guys, and see what you've shared before, or, like save posts so that you always have something on hand that you can do. Sarah did a sample group for her team this month all by herself. Yes, I love that. So good. We just have to start taking the initiative. It's scary and it's so worth it. It is absolutely so worth it. Um, okay, I love these. If you have more that you want to share in the comments, you can totally feel free. But remember to celebrate every month, you guys. We have to do that to encourage ourselves along the way. And all the wins count. And just reminders, maybe you've hit your goal and maybe you haven't. Our goal doesn't change, our timeline does. And some of my timelines have just continued to be pushed out, but I'm not giving up. And I don't want you guys to give up either. Just know, like, your rank does not define you. Earning incentives does not define you. You are here, you're more than those things, right? You're here for a purpose. And just continue to remind yourself of why you're doing this and that we are actually offering hope, health, and happiness. And I will just say it over and over again. It is absolutely worth it. And you are not responsible for the outcome. You are just responsible for the effort that you put into it, right? So that's all we can do is our work. Show up for yourself, set your goals, and do the things that you say you're going to do because you will be so proud at the end of every month. And I have stopped saying like finish strong when I get to the end of the month. Finish well. Like, show up and do the things that you said you were going to do so that you can leave that month or that day, whatever it is, with peace and feeling proud. That's what I want for you guys. And just know that we reap oftentimes the benefits like 90 days from now. The work that you're putting in now, it often takes a long time to cultivate cultivate those things. So don't give up, and just know we are going for progress over perfection. And the only way to get good at something is to suck at it at first. And sometimes, be really bad for a long time. And that is okay. Just progress over perfection every time. Um, and you guys, success, we want it so badly to look like that straight arrow, right? It's just nothing but smooth sailing, right? But that is not what it looks like. And if everyone, like, I believe that everyone could do this business, but not everyone will, because it's hard. And because when we hit these like valleys or a pit in the road, or we stumble, or it gets really messy and confusing and frustrating and difficult, people give up. Okay. But we are not those people. And so we keep going through the mess, knowing that this is what success looks like. We haven't done something wrong. There's not something wrong with us. This is the way. I don't know if you guys watched the whole Star Wars series. I can't even think of what it's called, but they always said, this is the way. And I always say that now. I'm like, no, remind myself, this is the way. And it looks like this, you guys. It looks really messy sometimes, but as long as we're continuing on an upward trajectory, even though it's like a jumbled mess sometimes, this is the way. This is what it looks like. And if we tell ourselves, well, it should just be easy, then we are setting ourselves up for failure, because life and things that are really worthwhile in life are actually really hard so often. And if it was easy, everyone would do it. Okay. The Mandalorian. Yes, thank you. That's right. This is the way, you guys. The Mandalorian. I'm not even a Star Wars person, but I did watch that. And I feel like we always need to be reminded. And another saying that Genevieve always says is, it doesn't look like it's going to work out until it does. We always think, what is God doing? He could not, like, why could he not be early? He's never early. He's always right on time, and is rarely on my timeline. Okay. And so just reminding ourselves what success looks like in life in general, but in this business as well. So don't give up when it gets hard. And okay, I have an example. Do any of you, maybe some of you do, you subscribe to Emily Gibson's newsletters that she sends out? Well, she sent out a message this last week. She started sharing this example about a snake in a tank. And I was like, where is she going with this? And at the end, I thought, this is so good. But she talked about how this person purchased a snake and put it in this tank, and it didn't grow. And it didn't grow, and it didn't grow. She's like, what is wrong with my snake? So she takes it back to the pet store, and she says, my snake is 5 years old. And the owner is like, there's no way the snake is 5 years old. He looks like a 2-year-old. And so then he says, what size of tank is your snake in? And so she tells him, and he said, that is your problem. You need, it was like a 20-gallon tank. You need a 50-gallon tank, whatever size tank was. I don't remember the details. But the point is that this snake had been kept in this tank that was way too small, and so it would not grow. It was confined by the size of the tank. And you guys, we often limit ourselves because we don't know that there is a larger tank waiting for us, or that we are capable of growing. And so we need to be like watching leaders, someone that you inspire to be like, follow them, see what they're doing, and it grows your vision. When I started Plexus, I had no intention of growing a business. I just needed my products paid for. That was it. That was my goal. And then when that happened, and when I began to feel better, and then I was watching all of these women do incredible things and go on trips or help all of these teams of people, and my vision expanded. It was like that snake in a tank. It was, my tank just got so big. And I was like, if they can swim in that tank, I can swim in it too. And it grew my vision for what was possible and what I maybe just maybe could do as well. And so I expanded my tank and I grew. And so I was like, I love I love this illustration so much, We need to get ourselves a bigger tank, you guys, and Plexus offers us the biggest tank that we want, as big as we want it to be. Like, we are the only ones that are going to limit where we go and where we take this and how many people that we help. And so I just want you all to think, does my tank need to be bigger? Like, do I need to expand my tank? Like, how am I restricting myself? How am I holding myself back from growing? And just know that you can dream, like start to dream again. Plexus absolutely did that for me. I never dreamt of pretty much anything. I just did what I needed to do every day. And never thought of what was possible. And that is what Plexus has done for me. And I know that that's what it can do for you. And I've watched it do that for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women and men as well. And so I just want us to think about that as we leave here and think, do I need a bigger tank? Where can I expand and grow? And if you don't have that belief in yourself, go find the people who will speak that into you. And that is in this team. We are here to do that for you. Okay, so going forward, you guys, our activity challenge looks a little bit different because this is our last week as far as like trainings go. But we're going to continue the group and we'll have some things in there for you that will help you continue to grow. As you're expanding your tank and as you continue to grow, we want to be there to walk through that with you. And so we'll have some things each week that are simple for you to do. And we would love for you to stay in there and to do those things and to continue to grow and learn and be a part of this community. And so here are some things that I want you to do. And I know some of you shared them, but write down how far you've come. Write down the things that you're proud of. Not just like that we say the non-scale victories, right? For people, especially those who have weight loss goals. There are so many other health wins along the way than just that, just like numerical goals. If maybe you didn't hit your rank or whatever it is, there were wins. Write them down. And then think, what are my goals for next month? And what are my action steps that I'm going to take to get there? And then share them with your sponsor. And then if you have not joined the IPA place and your team page, do that. And then follow up with everyone you've had conversations with and help them take that next step, whatever that is. And even if they don't answer you, make another contact with them. And then we are going to have a Sip and Step Summer Challenge that's coming up in June. There will be more information on that to come, and we'll put that in the group. So when that comes, and we'll have the information in there, you're going to send at least 5 invites to that. And then invite people, you guys, to join you on the next mentorship group, which will be in July. So we'll have June to grow and to invite people to come along with us in July. And we would love for you to do that. And of course, you are not required to join us again in July, but we would love for you to do that and to bring someone with you. We would love for you to put that duplication in action, right? And so that's the bonus. And then I will do a giveaway for a $20 gift card. You'll get to choose from a few options because I know we travel, we do fun things in summer. Sometimes it's nice just to have a gift card that you can go spend money to do whatever you want to do with it. So I'm going to stop this. And we have 5 minutes. Are there any other thoughts after our month together? Are there any other questions that you might have about anything that we've talked about? Now's your chance. Not that this is your only chance, but now is a chance. There's also an exciting end of the month deal coming tomorrow, 10% off site-wide. So you guys, this is an amazing opportunity to reach back out to literally everyone. So our customers maybe that haven't ordered or ordered less than 100 PV, they can go in and order and get 10% off. This is for new customers. This is a benefit to everyone. So that I love when we have those kinds of things to end our month well, right? We want to end our month well. So it's a great touch point with people. So I wanted to mention that before we get done, but Oh, thank you guys. I'm just so proud of all of you who continue to show up and who finished this. And I look forward to being in the group with you guys in June. And now you all can pray for the rest of my week as my daughter graduates, guys. It's big moments over here in our household. So thank you for being here. Thanks, Crystal, again for sharing. I will post the replay and the graphics with the wording, the verbiage, and all the other things in the group. Thanks for being here tonight, you guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.